I call to order the Board of Library Trustees special meeting. It's Thursday, July 14th, 2022. Could you call roll, please?
Yes. Chair Felguth.
Present.
Vice Chair Joshi.
Present.
Trustee Moreau.
Here.
Trustee Thompson.
Here.
And Trustee Petty. Not here.
Not yet.
And if I could, Chair Jennifer, Francesca, the title for me should not be chair anymore. If you could easily make me unchair, since we have a chair already with Jennifer, I'd appreciate it.
Or we could be
chairs.
we could be two legs of the chair. Alrighty, well, we have just two items on our agenda tonight. And Jim, would you like to introduce item number one?
I'd be happy to. When our current library director, Inga Waite, gave us notice way back in, I believe it was early February, that she was going to be retiring in July, we created a committee called a recruitment committee to work on finding a replacement. And we, among many other things, hired an executive recruiter after an RFP process, and we hired CPS HR Consulting in a joint effort with the city manager's office. And our executive recruiter did an extensive nationwide recruitment for this position. And we believe, and they believe as well, we were able to attract a very well-qualified group of candidates. We were very pleased with the quality of the candidate pool that we had to address. And in fact, the executive recruiters did screenings, I believe it was of 18 candidates, if I recall correctly, of the ones that they thought met our basic minimum qualifications. And then after that, Marcia and I, as members of this recruitment committee, identified 8 of the candidates that we thought were the best qualified and that we thought would be appropriate for us to have as semi-finalist candidates that Marcia and I then interviewed. And we also had assistance from Nat Rashanasira. And after those 8 interviews, we narrowed it down to 3 finalists. And at that point, the CPS HR Consulting did a thorough reference check of all 3 of the finalists. And after that, the entire library board interviewed all 3 of the finalists. And following that, they selected their top-rated candidate, who we then did a thorough background investigation on. And I'm very pleased to announce that our committee recommends that the entire library board appoint Brian Edwards, I'm sorry, got news media on my mind here, appoint Brian Edwards to our library position, and that he would become director on August 16th if the board approves this recommendation. And I'd also like to mention that although in the city charter, the position is referred to as the library director, and it's therefore also referred to as library director in the city's classification plan, the working title that Inga Waite has used has been the director of library and museums. And we would strongly suggest that Brian continue that tradition of incorporating that in the working title. And with that, I'd like to ask Marcia if she'd like to make a few additional introductory comments.
I just want to add to that we were, as I said, very pleased with the quality of the candidate, and particularly pleased with our final selection, which is lovely. And I'd like to make a motion that the board approve the appointment of Brian Edwards to this position.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Great. Francesca, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Felguth.
Yes.
Excuse me, Jennifer, could I suggest that we ask for public input first?
Oh, yes. Okay. As there any member of the public, Francesca, do you want to explain to folks how they can make public comments?
Yes. If you are not joining us in person here in the council chamber, there are 2 ways to virtually participate in this meeting. You may join directly on Zoom Gov from your computer or mobile device, or you may call into the Zoom meeting. To join the meeting on Zoom, use the link or phone number on the agenda at isearchmonterey.org. To call in by telephone, dial toll-free 833-568-8864. Enter meeting ID 161-352-8864, followed by the pound sign. If prompted to enter a participant ID, press pound. Detailed instructions on using Zoom are available at monterey.org/public meetings. To make a public comment, click on the raise hand button in the Zoom toolbar. If you called in by phone, raise your hand by dialing *9 and unmute yourself when called upon by dialing *6. Public speakers will be called on in the order of their hands raised. Today's meeting is also streamed live on the city's YouTube account at youtube.com/City of Monterey with an approximate 10-second delay, and on Comcast Channel 25 with up to a 90-second delay. If you plan to make a public comment, please join the meeting using Zoom or by telephone and ensure you join in time to accommodate the delay. If you are here in the council chamber, you're welcome to go up to the podium. All right, there are no public comments, Chair Felguth.
Great. Let's go ahead and do a roll call vote, please.
Yes, Felguth,
Yes.
Joshi,
Yes.
Moreau,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
and Petty, who is still absent.
Yeah, I sent him a text. I don't know what the problem is. So congratulations, Brian. We're glad to have you aboard. Yay. Yeah, very much. Jazz hands.
Yeah.
Would you
Jeff,
like to make a few comments?
Yes.
Sure, if you don't mind. I think I'm just humbled and excited to join Monterey. This is a fantastic opportunity here. You know, this is a historic city. I've just been thinking about, every community in the Bay Area, in California, Southern California. Every community has its unique vibe and culture, but California really started in Monterey. And there's so much about everything that drives California is really driven out of here. And so I love the museums. I love the history. I love libraries. So this is just a fantastic fit. And I look forward to really working with all of the staff, everybody here on the board, everybody with the city, just learning Monterey, because there's a lot that I really need to step in and learn and get to know the people and get to know how to best serve and best represent everybody, the library and the museum. So I really appreciate this opportunity and appreciate you guys just support about it, because I do think I'm going to put everything I can into this position. So I really appreciate everybody here.
Well, we're sure glad to have you. And I think you'll find Monterey is a very welcoming and supportive community. At one time when I worked for the city, that's what I found. They just kind of take you in with open arms. Of course, it helps that I'm half Italian, but we're really welcoming you and glad to have you on board. So with that, I'll move on to our second item on the agenda, which is appointment of interim library director. And we've met and had discussions of what to do during the gap between the time Inga leaves and Brian begins. And Nat has graciously volunteered with the support of Hans to serve part-time as the interim library director to handle the administrative duties. And so we've hammered out the details. They're explained in the agenda report. I'm not going to take tons of time to go through that, but I would like to entertain a motion to go ahead and approve the appointment of interim library director.
Jennifer,
Yeah.
can I make one correction to the staff report? There was actually or the agenda report, I should say, there was actually a typo at the very bottom of packet page 6 that I'd like to just correct for the record. Under alternatives considered, there's a date referenced. And on the original packet that was distributed, it showed the date of June 30, and that should have been June 23rd. And we did revise the agenda packet online, but some people may have the original one that showed a June 30 date. So for the record, I'd just like to correct that as June 23rd. And we did publish a revised agenda with a revised agenda report indicating that corrected date. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Great.
And also, just a minor suggestion to request public input before we have a motion.
Sorry. Is there any public input on this? Francesca, could you again explain how folks can participate?
Chair Felguth, there are no public participants at this time.
Great. All righty. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Is there a second? Thank you, Harish. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
And Felguth,
Yes?
Joshi,
Yes.
Moreau,
Yes.
Petty, absent, and Thompson.
Yes.
Thank you. That did pass. I just got a text from Bob saying, log on soon. Well,
Maybe we should give Nat an opportunity to say a couple of words as well.
Yes.
While we wait to see if Bob joins us.
I'll be brief, but happy to step in. I'm not sure what will be more challenging, 6 months as interim finance director or 2 weeks as interim library director, but we'll see about that one. Inga and I spent some time today to go over museums and just filling in the gaps here between Inga and Brian. We're really very excited as the city staff on behalf of the exec team to bring Brian on board. I know this is the last item, but just talking with Mayor Roberson yesterday, he's looking forward to meeting you, Brian, and the rest of the team. We just had an executive team workshop yesterday for a couple of hours, and we'll bring you up to speed and looking forward to having you here in Monterey.
Thank you, Nat. Appreciate it. Look forward to it.
great. Are there any additional board comments? Yes, go.
I would just real briefly like to thank both Nat and Inga for all the support they provided to Marcia and I on our recruitment committee. It's been a long process, a lot of detail involved, and they were both very helpful in that process. And also the CPS HR Consulting, they had an executive library consultant as part of their recruiter team, that Susan Hildreth, that was extremely invaluable in the process. I think she did a great job of encouraging many people to apply and helping us do some screening, as well as helping us with the interviews. So I think we worked together extremely well as a team. And I just wanted to thank everyone that was involved in that. And by the way, I think this is the last gasp of our recruitment committee. I think it is hereby abolished.
I was wondering if I could say something before we close.
Sure.
Okay, which is just, I wanted to say how excited I am to have Brian Edwards coming on board. And I think it's an excellent choice. I think the search committee did a great job. I agree that our search firm was excellent, but I don't know that we could have hoped for a better selection. So this is just wonderful. And I also want to say that I'm really pleased to have Nat stepping in for a couple of weeks. And it just, the whole thing makes me feel much more comfortable about retiring and handing over things, knowing that Nat is stepping in and knowing that Brian is joining the city shortly. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Inga.
So if there is nothing, no additional business or comments, I'll go ahead and close the meeting. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.